Mr. Vaughn, so the day that you were at the, you were praying and singing at the clinic, did the local police show up?
They did.
And were they called by the clinic?
They were.
Okay, so I want to get all the facts straight. Maybe you did this in your opening statement. I apologize. I had to step out a couple times here during the hearing. So you're at in front of an abortion clinic. You're praying and singing. You were on the public sidewalk.
It was inside. It was a multi-use building. We were in the hallway of a public building.
Okay.
Outside the doors of the abortion clinic.
And there were other people with you.
Correct.
Yeah. And you were charged with conspiring to stop people from going into the clinic and their rights, as Mr. Crampton was just talking about.
Correct, yes.
Now, what did you do? Did you physically push anyone, hold anyone back? Did you lock arms with your co-conspirators, or what'd you do?
No, I did none of that. I prayed. I kneeled and prayed on the side of the hallway at one point and sang hymns when they were singing. I interacted with the police department. The local police got a little agitated at one point, and they came and shoved a couple people. I walked back down the hallway with them and tried to ensure them these people were peaceful and keep peace, with the police department, and ultimately talked with the negotiator and the police chief, along with another member, and led to a peaceful resolution. People that wanted to be.
No one was arrested that day.
There were 8 people arrested.
Were you arrested that day?
I was not.
You were not arrested that day. Okay. And then, what day was that? What day were you there at the clinic praying? And
that was March 5th.
March 5th of what year?
22. I'm sorry, of 21.
21.
Correct, yes.
Because it's a year later, it just happens to be March 5th again, right?
It's October 5th of 22.
October 5th, excuse me.
Yes.
So a year later, that's right, October 5th. So almost a year later is when the federal police show up, the FBI shows up at your house.
Correct, yes.
Okay, in the interim, in that 11-month time frame, what kind of contact did you have with any law enforcement or any prosecutor or anything like that?
None.
None?
None whatsoever.
So you weren't arrested that day and other people were. You didn't do anything wrong that day. In fact, when there was some concern, you tried to de-escalate it.
Correct.
And nothing happens. Local police said that this Mr. Vaughn guy, he's doing the Lord's work, whatever they said. They didn't do anything. But then 11 months or 10 months later, the FBI shows up at your door.
That's 18 months later, correct. They showed up hard and heavy. So that day, the police in their media press release that evening complimented how peaceful and orderly we were, how we interacted with them. And the lead detective, the lead negotiator, testified for us at federal trial. So
local police.
We had good relations with the police. And it's been pointed out, if I can, I'd love to read just a quick statement.
Do you know if the FBI talked to the local police prior to coming to your house and arresting you?
They did not. I asked them that question on the hour-long ride to Nashville in the back of the car. I said, did my sheriff know or anybody know? Said, no, we didn't bother telling them.
They just showed up.
They showed up.
And if I remember the facts again, it was early morning, show up.
7:15 in the morning.
Kick in the door, you and your wife and children right there, and
Correct,
had
yep.
some of your kids they held off on a different part of the property. Okay. Where was the conspiracy? What were you conspiring to do? Because I don't see the conspiracy. I'm troubled as the legal professionals here, Mrs. Hawley and Mr. Crampton have pointed out, I'm troubled by this whole conspiracy thing, but I don't see any conspiracy on your part.
No, the conspiracy was I ideologically agreed that abortion should stop. And I was in the hallway with other people that did that.
Were there like emails at the trial where you said, hey, we're all going to meet at the clinic on this day? Was that how they demonstrated some conspiracy?
There was no evidence like that presented as to me. The only thing they showed in that piece of the trial was my driver's license that indicated that I lived an hour from the clinic and drove an hour. So that was the tie to the conspiracy.
And if the FBI called you and said, Mr. Vaughn, we're going to charge you with this crime. Can you show up and meet us at the local FBI office or whatever, Nashville? I think you said you'd got legal counsel, you'd got Mr. Crampton, but you'd have showed up whatever day they told you, right?
Sure, absolutely.
But instead, they came to your house. Yep. Yeah, it's crazy. Mr. Crampton, are traditional Catholics radical?
Only in the eyes of extremists of the Biden administration.
Yeah, only in the eyes of the people who show up at 6 in the morning and arrest a guy when the local police, wanted to give him a medal. Only they are the people who are going to say that if you're a traditional Catholic, you're an extremist. You're a radical.
I'm afraid so.
Yeah. Ms. Hawley, I got 32 seconds. I feel bad, but I'll give you the last 30 seconds. Anything you want to add to the discussion?
Thank you, Congressman Jordan. One thing I would like to mention is that the FACE Act is on top of state and local law. So as members of Congress have recognized before, this would not allow criminal conduct to go unpunished. Every state has trespass laws, has nuisance laws, has those sorts of things that are perfectly capable.
And we saw it in the example.
Exactly, and similarly with
They arrested, did any of the 8 people that the local police arrested, Mr. Vaughn, did any of them get charged by the FBI? How many of them? All of them?
All of them.
All of them, okay, but.
They got double charged. They got local
double
charges
charged.
and federal.
They obviously did something wrong, you did it.
And similarly, with Mr. Hook, who I know has testified to this committee, the state and local prosecutors declined to prosecute. They made a federal case out of it, was acquitted by a jury of his peers, and an Obama appointee judge noted that this was stretching the FACE Act a little thin.
Yeah, no kidding. Thank you. Thank all of our witnesses, and I want to thank the chairman for his good work on dealing with this piece of legislation.